to educate other communities about the role of peers. So education, peer support, we've received about 65 requests for assistance. That's individuals, moms, dads, brothers, sisters who are either struggling or have a loved one who is struggling, who don't know where to go or what to do, and they come to Archway for support. So we've been able to help connect those individuals to services. And then by the end of this quarter, so by the end of September, we will have given out close to $50,000 in grants and scholarships to support recovery. So for treatment, housing.
Yay.
So 50,000 used to be our goal. This year our goal is $70,000 in grants and scholarships, which is amazing as well. Couldn't do it without each and every one of you. And then last but not least, NPRA. Our newest initiative is peer workforce development. So the peers that I was talking about who are employed, we are helping to grow and develop that workforce. And advocate for peers and advocate for the people that we're serving. So I actually invited Stefanie, for the most part, to talk about NPRA and to share her story. But Stefanie is one of the things that we are doing is we are developing. So let me start from the beginning and give you guys a full picture now that I'm thinking about what you know. So the National Peer Recovery Alliance, or NPRA, is now a division of Archway that's focused on peer workforce development and advocacy efforts. And so it was started in early 2020. Stefanie was on our board at the time, and she and the group of us came together to kind of grow this network. But at the end of last year, we became an official division of Archway. And so now, through that work, we are creating NPRA affiliates in multiple states. So we have one in Missouri, one in West Virginia, one in Florida, and one in Ohio. And Stefanie is our Ohio affiliate director. It took me a long time to get her introduction so you knew exactly who she was. But she is also the executive director of a recovery community organization in Medina County. So we are excited to have her on board, and I'm going to let her take it away.
You did great. You did great. Thank you so much. We can clap. We can clap. Yeah, my name is Stefanie Robinson, and I'm the founding executive director of Hope Recovery Community, which is a recovery community organization in Medina. Also the coordinator of recovery support services for a behavioral health agency in Medina called Ohio Guidestone. So I oversee a medically assisted treatment program, a peer support program, and a recovery house, a level 3 women's recovery house. The name is Discovery, so we opened that about a year ago. Do a little bit for OCAR, which is Ohio Citizen Advocates for Addiction Recovery, and then, in my spare time, a little bit for NPRA as well. And those are all great. Those are all nice fancy titles, but my favorite title is that I'm a wife, I'm a mother, and I'm a person in long-term recovery.
Yay.
So for me, that means I haven't engaged in drugs, alcohol, or eating disorder behaviors for over 14 years. Yes, clap. We can clap. It's National Recovery Month, and we should be clapping. We should be celebrating. We should be honoring and really looking at people that are in long-term recovery, because it's a battle and it's a journey. And, we often see the bad side of things, right? We have the worst year on record for overdoses in the country, right? Everybody know that? We have the worst year in Ohio for record overdoses, right? Things aren't looking good, but the good news is that recovery is possible. 24 million Americans, and I would tell you that number is probably very, very low. Over 24 million Americans are in recovery. One of my favorite sayings I've heard along the way is that recovery is not just possible, it is probable, right? It is completely probable, and people are recovering. I am recovering. So 14 years ago, actually about 43 years ago, I was born in Medina, middle-class America, every opportunity in the world. Fell into drugs and alcohol. I went to college on a Division I full-ride scholarship for soccer, threw away my scholarship after my first year and decided that drugs and alcohol would be a better choice. Engaged in high-risk activity and really got lost. until I found myself in a 6-figure salary with a really nice car, great wardrobe, right? I had everything going for me, but I was addicted to drugs and alcohol, and I was in the throes of a massive eating disorder as well. Anything to avoid life. And I was talking to a therapist, and that therapist created opportunity. That therapist said to me, would you be willing to make a phone call? Because I was not willing to go get help, but I was willing to make a phone call. That phone call would lead to 90 days in treatment out of state, and then would lead to me picking recovery 14 years ago. And I'm not a big math person, but my favorite math equation is recovery equals willingness plus opportunity. Right? Let me repeat it for those of us that are slow. Recovery equals willingness plus opportunity. We can't control willingness. If we could, we wouldn't be here. We wouldn't need to raise money. We wouldn't need to support people because we would just be able to create willingness, but we can't. But what we can do is that we can control opportunity. We can say when a person becomes willing, right, when they have that moment and they're ready to look at their relationship with drugs and alcohol, they're willing to look at maybe some treatment options. Who is there to meet them in that moment? Because that is a very, very small window. That's called hope. And when I talk about hope, hope is not in bucketfuls, it's not in truckloads, it's in slivers. A crack in a window, a speck of dust. The opportunity that something, the belief that something could be different for that individual. So what we do at Hope Recovery Community and what we're doing around the state with the help of ARCHway is to be able to be there when that opportunity strikes. Because that might be in an emergency room. That could be when somebody's incarcerated. You got a lot of time to think. That could be at the local food pantry. That could actually be at the local high school or college. That might be in your HR employment in the office. Or that could just be maybe at the town motel, right? I got one of those calls yesterday from the town motel. Somebody had a moment and said, I think something can be different, right? And that person ended up in detox within 45 minutes because willingness met opportunity. And so that person has accessibility to recovery. And in those moments, I firmly believe that peers are the special sauce. They are the recipe. They are the magic. They are the connection. When I have an opportunity and I'm ready to change, if I can be met by somebody else who's made that change as well, that's like a perfect match. And that's why we so desperately believe in peer support. I believe there is power in peers because it is lived experience. I have 2 kids. Anybody have kids? I bet we have people, lots of parents here, right? If you are parents, do you ask people without kids for parenting advice? Yeah, right? She's laughing because you get, like I have a friend who has cash, right? And the advice he gives me for my kids is ridiculous because it doesn't apply. And that's okay. I don't minimize his experience, but he hasn't walked that walk. That's what people in recovery that are trained, that are equipped, that are empowered, that are paid, that are treated with respect, that's what they offer. They offer that lived experience. It's me saying, I've been there before. I've walked this path. And now I'm going to walk with you into recovery, throughout recovery. That's what I love what you said, because peers can be used at all aspects, all points of the continuum, in prevention, in assessment, in treatment, in aftercare. All along, lived experience can come right up alongside. And we love treatment providers. We love Glenbeigh, right? We love our clinicians and master levels and PhDs. Those are all fantastic. And when mixed with lived experience, amazing things can happen. And so I got a call 2 years ago, right? I think COVID had just started. I don't really know, because that's all like a blur, right? At that time, like March, April. I got a call and somebody said, hey, they're putting together this national group and they want to start to organize peers. And I was like, sign me up. Because I had seen what peers could do. Because back in September of 2018, I sat down with 30 individuals, the majority of them in recovery, and we said, we're going to start a nonprofit, we're going to start a recovery community organization, and we began to organize and we began to march. 4 years later, we have 2 recovery community centers, the first one in Ohio to have 2 in one county. We just got acknowledged by national standards that we're at national best standards. So we are like in the upper echelon of 200 recovery community organizations in the country. We started about $100,000 budget. We're going to be over a $500,000 budget this year. We record about 4,000 recovery touches a month, 4,000 times that somebody is engaging with a peer supporter and somebody is picking recovery. 4,000 times in our jail, child welfare, our hospitals. Yes, we can celebrate. Our crisis line. We're at our food pantry. We're about to be at our pregnancy center, our health department, because remember, recovery equals willingness plus opportunity. When that opportunity strikes, you better believe Hope Recovery Community wants to be there, right? And we need to build up these types of systems all across the board. So when I got that phone call, I was like, all right, let's go, let's do this. So I show up and we start to organize. Peers starting to come together, saying, we need to empower our peers. We need to train them adequately. We need to have national standards. Peer support is one of the only professions, like, if I go to Texas and I go to a vet, it's pretty clear what that vet is going to do, correct? Right? Yeah. Peer support, it looks different state to state. It kind of has different definitions, different places you go. That's not good for the work. That's not good for the role, because we want to have strong ethics and boundaries. So we need our high standards. Our peers, they're pretty much our lowest paying job in behavioral health. Right? Who do you call on Christmas? Who's driving you to detox? Whose car are you throwing up in? Who are you calling at midnight? You're calling peer supporters. You're calling people with lived experience. So we need them to be adequately funded. It probably doesn't surprise you that our peer-based recovery support services are some of the most underfunded services in the country, especially in the state of Ohio, begging and pleading for money. And so we need to equip our peers. So when I got that call, I was like, yes, we're on board. And then I started to get to know Emily, and I started to get to know ARCHway. And then she came and said, hey, there's also this grant opportunity. We like to give money away. And I was like, wait, what? Wait, you're not going to just take from us? You know? No, we want to help you as well. And so we applied for a grant, and she helped us provide some transportation. We called it Hope on the Move. Because the worst thing for me is when a person wants to go to detox and they don't have a ride. And I was buying Uber cars out of my personal bank account, I will be very honest, because I can't take that. If somebody's willing to get help, we've got to get them there. So ARCHway provided funding. That funding showed one of our donors the need for transportation. I'm happy to report that on August 31st, we just bought our first minivan, due to the start of ARCHway, showing us that Hope on the Move is going to work. So now we've got a nice Dodge Caravan that we're going to be driving people around, and I think it's going to be the first of many. Because I don't want transportation to stop that willingness, right? We got to create opportunity. So when somebody said, well, I can't get to your center. Oh, where do you live? I'll be there in 5 minutes to pick you up, right? So you have a different conversation. Then we collected, ARCHway was like, let's collect some underwear, right? Because I run a recovery house. Our girls show up without underwear, right? Go get a job, go to treatment, go do all these things, but you don't even have the proper undergarments? That's a lot to ask of an individual. So we put a bin out in our community, filled it with underwear, and I was like, this is amazing. And then we just wrote another grant it's called Fresh Start. It'll be the first program in our county that will serve people that are impacted by the criminal justice system. Because when you get out of jail and you get off of parole, you have felonies, you have bad credits, you have big, big barriers in the state of Ohio. So we want to put peers, right, to come up alongside and to support those individuals. So it's all based in that peer work. Because what we're seeing is that recovery is happening everywhere, and it strengthens individuals, it makes our families stronger, and it makes our community stronger. And so I just want to thank ARCHway for the support, because it's not just, now we're empowering peers at the top, but you're also supporting recovery community organizations like myself. I don't have any other organization outside the state of Ohio that supports us in any capacity. That's significant. And now I think in the recovery housing, my husband's an executive director too, because we thought that would be fun. And so he just wrote a grant as well, because Emily was like, hey, ARCHway wants to continue to help. We want to make an impact in Medina. And so like, she's going to be at our fundraiser next week in person, right? Like ARCHway Institute is going to be there. I mean, that is something so special, because it shows our community that people care about you and that we believe in you and we believe in recovery. So I just want to thank you. And I want to say, please give generously, not just today, but beyond today, because recovery is worth it. And peer support, it really works. And we believe that an investment in recovery is truly an investment in your community. Thank you guys very much.